It's time for the 259 Show, a weekly podcast that can be found on our website at www.the259show.com or on Facebook and Twitter at the 259 Show. Today's hosts are Joe Peachy.
No, I haven't contacted Michelle because she'd be on the next flight to New York City. So.
Mike Vincelli.
Chelsea's not a girl. This is the name of a soccer club.
Hate you, Chelsea. Broke my heart.
Tyler Diedrich.
I wonder if they have waffles. Ha ha ha. They do.
And Andy Fowler.
Out of all of us here, I feel like I'm balding the most. I got a big spot up on top. And by growing it out, I feel like I'm trying to cover it.
Here's your host, Andy Fowler.
Live from the 259 Show studios in Hilton, New York. It's the 259 Show live. Tyler Diedrich, Mike Vincelli, Joe Peachy, Drew Fowler. We're all here Saturday, April 28th, 2018, the year of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you all for joining us today.
Welcome to the Preaching Variety Hour with your pastor, Andrew Fowler.
I'll be here for the next hour and a half.
Reverend Drew.
Reverend Papa.
Reverend Dr. Andrew J. Fowler.
The good Lord said,
Behold!
Behold!
Praise God! How's everybody today? How's team morale? First time the four of us have been sitting around this round table here, or oval table, in quite some time.
Yeah, we're good. I have a feeling that 2 weeks from today on the program, we're going to be feeling pretty nice that day as well. Episode number 67 of the 259 Show. Welcome.
67 strong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Joe's joining us from Astoria, New York, on the Flower City Printing Hotline.
Astoria, Queens, New York City.
Astoria, Queens, yes.
Which I still like to point out is on the island of Long Island.
That might be the worst part about Queens.
The island at Long Island?
From Long Island.
We touched Long Island. So actually, funny thing about Long Island, I was teaching suburbanization yesterday, and I said...
And how it's the devil? Is that what you were teaching
How it's the devil, how it's the devil, and then as a result of suburbanization, we invented Long Island.
And they were like...
Did the class erupt?
And they were like, Mr. Joe, where did you grow up? And you said,
Sir.
Hilton, New York.
Hilton.
And they're like... How close is that to Westchester?
Is that upstate? Is that?
Oh my God! Some of the teachers mistake Rochester with Westchester. I'm like, no, false. I have lived nowhere near Westchester.
I had another 5 hours to that. And...
Speaking of Westchester, you ever come across someone who says, "Oh, I'm from upstate. I'm from Westchester," and you're like,
all the time.
You are not.
All the time. Actually, I saw a great map the other day that was posted on Twitter. That basically broke down where everything is.
There's been a lot of those going around lately.
Yeah, and it was. I might hang it up in front of my room. Yeah. Because I'm from Western New York, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I introduce myself from now on.
Yeah.
Whenever anybody asks me, I don't say I'm from Rochester. I say, I'm from Western New York. Because when I say Rochester, they're like, oh, you're from upstate. No, I'm not from Albany. All right, I'm from Rochester.
There was one map I saw that had just Albany, which we would call the capital district. It had that part of the state called upstate, and then other ones as well. Okay, all of upstate New York is basically everything that's not downstate New York, which is the New York City metro area. Yeah. Everything else is upstate, and then upstate is broken into several regions, including Western New York, where we live. And rant.
Correct.
How's Team Morale today, guys?
I thought Mike was out this week, so I actually wrote down Joe returns, Mike out, continuing their feud.
Yeah,
Joe
and I
spoke. To this?
Yeah, we talked last night. We had a little powwow.
Heart to heart?
We're good now.
Heart to heart?
We figured it out.
So he ruffled my feathers a little bit. And
Mike was
hash it out.
Mike was still getting over the fact that I'm not Italian. So.
Honestly, yeah. I'm still upset. To my left is no longer a fellow paisan.
Mike, you sound good. We talked about 45 minutes ago. You sound like a Mack truck ran you over the back.
Yeah, just woke up. Made it here in good time.
You do some vocal warm-ups on the way in?
Yeah.
Down now,
I gotta say though, if I had known that Mike was coming, I wouldn't have driven all the way up to Ridge Road to get Chick-fil-A myself and brought it back home this morning. I would have had Mike pick it up.
No, I wouldn't.
So wouldn't have.
Today's trip.
I actually walked here from my parents' house.
Yeah?
Today's trip, which happened about, I left a little before 7:30 to go up to the Ridge. Easiest trip into the Chick-fil-A parking lot I have had thus far.
Slow
Because
down.
breakfast tends to be slower.
What is the count currently at?
This was trip number 6. Successful trips.
That's kind of not as much as I thought.
Yeah, I had 4 the first weekend and just 1 each the last 2 weeks.
When's it going to slow down?
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. 7. I went twice this week. I went
You
Thursday for
lying
lunch. as
son
well.
of a gun.
Do you feel like you have to go all the time?
Yes, and also I want to.
Okay.
So it's both.
You're not afraid it's gonna like lose its novelty? Or
It hasn't
it's not
yet.
gonna be
It
as
has.
good?
If you've been following the news,
No.
traffic
I
is still
don't.
up.
I don't think Chick-fil-A's novelty will ever wear off in the Rochester area. I'm talking about with you, how you might like eat it too much that you don't enjoy the
no,
taste.
I'm sure that it will be less frequent that I go there, but I will still always be all about. I'm very loyal to the brands and teams that I support.
Yes, that is true.
Team Chick-fil-A.
We can get back to some food talk in a bit. Actually,
we got a lot
this
of
is more
NFL
food
talk to hit on.
talk. We got to recap last Friday's excursion to the Parma Pizza Party at the Hilton Village Community Center.
So the Parma Pizza Party, this is an annual event the Hilton Parma Recreation Department puts on. Typically, it's a blind taste test where you would vote on your favorite slice of pizza. New format this year.
Oh, boy.
No voting.
So what's the... You just go and get slices?
Still blind taste testing.
And then what?
And then
Well, some prizes.
some prizes and trivia. But there's
This
no voting on your
This
favorite.
millennium culture is ruining everything.
Yeah, everyone got a participation trophy.
Well, from my understanding, there were people who wouldn't bring pizza unless if they did not vote because they got their feelings hurt in previous years.
Are you kidding me?
So there were 7 pizzerias. Tops
6.
6? No, I thought it was 7. Pantillo's, Carbone's, Cariglio's.
I could actually rank
Tops,
them all.
Perry's, Cries. I guess there were 6.
And I knew right away at least 4 out of the 6 just
Same.
by sight.
Same.
And then as soon as I taste one, okay, this is the one I don't recognize, so this must be this one.
Right off the bat, you can pick out Pantillo's, Cariglio's, Carbone's.
Cariglio's is the easiest by far.
Yeah.
If you've lived in Hilton for more than like 3 years,
Or gone to a sporting event of any kind.
If your kids have been a part of Hilton Athletics at all.
And then Tops was also easy to pick out.
I wouldn't know Tops.
because I didn't know it,
Yeah.
I figured that it was that one. And I gotta say, Tops was the winner for me.
And it looked the worst.
It was good?
Oh yeah,
It was actually pretty good.
and I've heard that from several people that Tops actually has good pizza.
Describe it. For
Well,
me.
Tyler likes
Paint a picture.
It's probably doughy, super doughy.
No,
right?
no,
That's
it
what
was
the breakfast
thick
pizza's
cheese.
like.
You know when we got school
They-
pizza? How
Yeah.
It was
that
thick
cheese
crust.
membrane?
Yeah, that's
no,
not good.
thick crust, but it was also crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. Lots of sauce. I love it when they put a lot of sauce on there, and they had cup and char pepperoni, crispy.
You know, Drew, that's a great point. School lunches, the pizza was actually decent because the crust was really crunchy if you got it at the right moment, and the cheese was just so cheesy it wasn't even funny.
It was like rubber.
They put no sauce on it.
I didn't
No,
know.
it was
There was no.
sauce.
There was
You
like.
didn't like it, Mike?
It was like they took an
It's
eye.
okay.
It was like they took
I
an
get it.
eyedropper and put one little drop of sauce on it.
Yeah, there was just so much grease. I remember the tray would just be a big pool of
Yeah, that's a good point.
grease.
The stuffed crust pizza at school was very good. Also, the fiestadas.
I love the stuffed crust.
So
The actual pizza itself wasn't good. It was just the crust just was
So
so
good.
nice.
So the format that this Parma Pizza Party took was you would get your slices, you would eat your slices. They brought drinks around on a cart. Once the pizza
Little
eating
hugs.
was done, yeah, they had the little hugs.
Ooh.
The juice
First time I've had one of those in
I
15
think they had
years.
those last time when you and I went too, Drew.
Probably. I don't think I've had one since like
Diedrich still have like a case in the back
from
of the
Molly's
garage fridge.
party.
I got some Capri Sun in there.
I still got
We got
the
some-
blue goo on my
We still got
lip
some.
from the last time
We
I
still got
drank
some
a mug.
kudos bars in the cabinet.
But and then they brought around the dessert pizza, which was cookie cake designed to look like pizza. That was delicious.
Yeah.
From Tops.
Cookie cake is hands down one of the best kind of cakes.
So I gotta say that my rankings for the pizzas that we had, they each had different colored straw stabbed into them.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
So I went Tops, and then Crosby's, which was my previous number one before I had the Tops Pizza, and then I went Pontillo's, which is good, reliable. I went Perry's 4, Carbone's 5, Cariglio's 6.
I know we've talked
I didn't even
about-
eat Carbone's and Cariglio's because I've had them so many times. Amanda had them as leftovers the next day.
I know we've talked about it on the program before. Our go-to pizza is Pontillo's. It always has been. But lately, the last couple times, we've gone Carbone because you need to mix it up from time to
You
time.
need to switch it up. You get sick of the same
Yeah.
taste.
Yes.
We do that too.
Carbone's good pizza. I'm sick of it though.
So are you saying Tops is going to be your new go-to? Have you ordered it?
No, I haven't. I'm saying I will give it a shot.
Okay.
But also keep in mind these were only pepperoni and cheese slices. A lot of these places, even Cariglio's, they have good specialty slices that I would go get.
Going back to the Carbones note for a second, over at my buddy Nick's house out in Greece, he goes to the Dewey Ave Carbones. He gets sheet pizza, and the cheese is Parmesan.
Wow.
It is delicious. Red sauce.
Carbone's
with
does have a
Parmesan.
great sheet pizza. The double dough, that's what does it.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Carbones, yeah, their sheets are good.
But so anywho, after the dessert pizza, they started doing prize trivia, that's when we left.
This is where I have an issue because everyone who's at the table, Amanda, the baby, Ryan Fowler, his son Grayson, your nephew, Drew, Sam, everyone bailed on me. I was the only one left at the table.
You stayed?
Yeah, I'm like, someone's
What
got to
kind-
accept the prize because
what kind of-
you had to
what kind of
get, you had to
trivia
guess
are we
each,
talking?
you had
Was
to
it like-
match up each pizza with the place it came from.
Yeah.
And so we all did,
So
and we handed our things. Everyone bailed on me. I'm like, I got to stay and accept the prize for everyone,
Where'd
right?
they go? Home?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the baby was past her bedtime.
Oh,
it's
okay.
past my bedtime.
It was
too.
great. Grayson's bedtime probably,
Did
too.
you and Amanda drive separately, or
No, I just walked home. Not that far.
That makes
You
sense.
stayed?
So at the very end, from my understanding, we won. We, the collective.
But we don't
table.
even know who won because
Exactly.
they said, okay, we had a lot of people get this right, especially at one particular table. I just started laughing because I knew it was our
It was
table. So he said some other guy who won, and he's like, and the entire he
Table
didn't even say our
11 or
table
something.
number. He said
No.
the Fowler
The Fowler table.
So I walk up there.
You're like, you're not Fowler.
No one's handing me anything. I'm just looking, and they like keep moving on. I'm like, am I supposed to accept the prize or something? And I'm like,
You're gonna get the prize.
and your mom said, I'm like, oh, you're here. I guess you'll just accept the prize. So I
like
just
Christmas story.
turn around and walk back to my table without getting anything. No one even like acknowledged me except like your mom looked at me.
Hilarious.
I'm
to
like,
see.
what am I doing? So, I'm like,
anywho.
I can't just walk out. I gotta go sit down
what
for a
was
minute.
this?
So the grand prize was a gift certificate to Carbones, I believe. Large cheese, 1 topping pizza, and 2 dozen wings.
Not bad.
And then a 4-pack to a Red Wings game, box seats.
Oh!
For Tuesday night last week.
Oh!
And where is
Wait,
the prize?
So the prize somehow.
Because I wrote down on the rundown, I want my prize. Then Drew wrote, so do I. So where is this prize?
Somehow the prize ended up in the hands of Ryan Fowler. Both have been redeemed.
Oh, right.
No, right? I mean, he didn't even hold on to the pizza and
Ryan,
wings.
you sly dog.
He didn't even hold on
Wait.
to the pizza and wings for
You
like
guys-
family pizza night. Like a new
You guys
week.
have you went there last Friday, and he's already been able to use all of those things.
Well, the Red Wings tickets were for Tuesday night this past week. I couldn't have gone. I had a meeting.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm sure Tyler probably could have.
They don't let you just
Weeknights
pick a
are
game
tough.
to go to.
So
I wouldn't have gone. I wouldn't have gone anyway.
But yeah, I don't have a prize. Tyler doesn't have a prize. I guess everybody wins.
You guys got jibbed.
Yes. So that was the Parma Pizza Party. Not as heavily attended as previous years, from what I remember.
it was sold out. It was pretty full in there.
Yeah, but they could have put a couple more tables in. Probably.
How were the logistics? I know it was a little hairy last go around when you and I went.
it was a long. Well, okay, so
Was it better?
there were 20 tables, so they did table 1 and table 20, table 2 and table 19, and we were table 11. So we were.
Last Fed.
Did they bring the pizza too?
But I was waiting. You were late.
They
I
had
think
the pizza set up in the gymnasium, so you would get up, go serve yourself.
we were in the Ingham room.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
Ingham room. And then they started to do the pizza trivia, and then it started to get wonky after that. That's kind of part of the reason we left.
It's not like Gates, so we had Marcassini to crack
To
some
entertain us.
jokes.
But I think they should have, instead of doing
fundraise.
trivia, because it's a crapshoot of who rose their hand first. People are just guessing.
Yeah,
and
that's
striking
stupid.
out. They should have just done raffle. You know,
Yeah.
here's a number. You know, give everybody a number 1 through 100 coming through the door.
I will say, good event, great concept. I enjoyed it. I will go back if they hold it again. Mm-hmm. It's a good. It's a good
That's
opportunity
a lot of food
to
for
sample.
$7.
It's a pretty good sized slice.
Who's your number
And
one?
I gotta
Jordan?
say, give them credit. They were all pie cut. You didn't get stuck with a center slice.
Mm-hmm. However, the center slice is great.
But you can't tell where it's from sometimes,
True.
unless you really know. Unless you really know your pepperoni.
I didn't really go through the ranking process. I was going more for the identification process.
Fair enough.
So that was the Parma Pizza Party for one more year. What else do we got going on here? Under our
You had a little construction project going on, from what I understand.
Not little. Nothing here is little.
You go hard. You go big or go home, huh?
We started building the deck out back last week.
deck?
Last Sunday. Have you seen my
The
deck?
deck?
So
deck?
we're building the deck. We rented a toe-behind auger, like a big drill. That
Oh yeah, all about the toe behind augers.
We have to go down 42 inches for village code. So we map out where the holes are going to be. 15.
Wait, is there a man that has a very distinguished tape measure that comes around? Excuse me, sir, your hole is only 41 inches.
No, he wouldn't have a whiny voice, Joe. It would be stern and to the point.
Yes, Joe. The code enforcer had to come out and measure each hole.
It's like it's like the library cop from Seinfeld.
I think we're actually looking at the code enforcer. I think the code enforcer was the one who was digging these holes. That is Andrew J. Fowler.
It was actually the the former Parma Special Police guy on his bicycle coming.
Todd? Did you bring a cone? Did he throw a cone down for you?
He was out there on Cedar Terrace with the sticks.
Did you have flares set up?
roped off Cedar Terrace all the way to Applewood Lane. No, we can come through.
Sir, you're gonna have to step.
Howdy.
Sir, you're gonna have to step 5 steps back. Don't make me use my bike.
Don't want any civilians hurt.
Drew's in his backyard drilling little holes.
So anyway, we get the auger going 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. We get about 12 inches down in the first hole. We hit a cinder block.
12 inches deep.
Oh, baby.
So then we go to another place. We get about 24 inches down.
Who was
And
your crew working on this, by the way?
I'll get there. And then we had a pack of vinyl siding. So back there, they just used it as a trash pit and threw soil over it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Who's they?
The people who built this house in the 80s.
Okay.
At this point, it was one of my mom's former co-workers' husbands, and Charles Palmer, who, as we've discussed on the show before, is the strongest
per capita
person we know.
That's why they call him Concrete Charlie Palmer.
Yes.
If you're moving your house, if you're
Anything.
bringing anything home,
If you're doing anything.
give Chad a call.
Oh, so that kid is very reliable. He gets the job done, man.
So So at this point, the machinery we have is not going to work. So we go to Home Depot. We rent a 1-ton mini excavator. It's one of those things
You
with the
rented it
claws.
from Home Depot?
Yeah, for a day.
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, Drew, how did you carry that home?
So anywho, I get on the phone, call up my future father-in-law, Tim, Fireman Tim, and he calls a couple of his buddies from the Hamlin Fire Department,
Rick?
who have Jesse and Justin.
What,
Now
really?
they're shutting down all of Hilton.
Jesse and Justin from
But they,
Hamlin?
they operate these things for a living, and we banged out 10 holes real quick with this thing.
Nice.
Real quick means like 4 hours. But
You bang those holes real good, Drew.
yes, we did. So we have a big mud pile in the backyard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Still no deck.
Slippy back there.
Still no deck.
We putting a pool in?
Have you played on top of the mud pile yet?
No.
Guster probably.
What's the point of having a mud pile if you can't play on it, Drew?
Good point, Joe. Maybe I'll get to it this weekend. So that was our little construction
So
project.
they
back
drilled
there.
through all the trash that was in the.
Oh, we scooped it out and put it back in. It's not like trash, but there's a lot of concrete, like broken concrete, bricks, rocks,
Really?
a couple pieces of metal, some angle iron that was thrown in there.
There's
So your lawn's torn up right now.
More or less.
Yeah.
So when do you anticipate the deck to be completed?
Never. No,
You're just gonna have holes in the backyard.
Holes in the ground. Now it's going to be. The thing is, this time of year is awful. I should have waited another month or two.
Drew is perpetually building a deck somewhere.
You're right. It's not the cottage here.
You get done with your deck, you're going to have to go build someone else's.
Expert deck builder here. No, we
Drew's decks by Drew.
we had 4 baseball games last week, 5 this week, and we got another meeting. So it's really work 1 day a week on this project. So it'll be a couple more weeks before we see any big progress.
You're going to be busy doing 2 things this summer.
deck building,
Building a deck here and building a deck at your cottage.
and going to weddings. 3 things.
I got one more item on the
What do you got?
morale check portion of our rundown. So there was a story that popped up on my Twitter feed yesterday. It involves you and Uncle E, and I want to know what the story is. Oh, and it involves Dan Hurleman, I guess, too.
So Dan Hurleman's helping out the Hilton Varsity Cadet baseball team this year.
so this isn't like a 2010 story.
This happened Thursday this week.
Okay.
We played out at Penfield, and for those of you who are not familiar with the student athletes that come out of Penfield, they're typically some of the cockiest SOBs out there. Taunting the works. Their field's a piece of trash. Like, it's so wet. It was like a sponge.
And Penfield's really not that good at that many sports, given the size of the school.
Yes.
Soccer is probably
because their
baseball team is good.
Slightly smaller than Hilton, not by much though, right? Isn't it?
Hilton and Penfield are very similar in size. Penfield might be a little bigger. I can't remember.
So, their field was awful.
At the town park.
No, they're at the high school now.
Oh, they moved?
Yeah, they haven't played at the town park in a couple years now.
That's been a while.
But their field's awful. One of the foul balls that came off to our side, our dugout side, got tossed into the dugout. It gets in the hands of Dan Hurleman, who's our assistant coach, and the catcher's looking at him and pointing at him like, "Toss it in," and it's waterlogged. Like, this can't be used anymore. So after not tossing it in, he just like chucks it at the other dugout and just says, "Clean it up, it's dirty." Like, just shouted it at him. And he was like, "Dude, relax." I thought it was going to be on at that point because it could have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I know. You know those unwritten rules of baseball. You look at a guy wrong, and that means an automatic brawl is about to start.
Did he chuck it so it almost like hit someone, or
no? But it was definitely with force, and he shouted probably louder than he thought he was going to. It was hilarious.
So, was the actual act of him doing that funny, or was Uncle E's reaction what really...
It was E, and then we all played into it. It kind of made him feel bad.
It made Eric feel bad?
No,
I got a quick question for you for context. In baseball, so your team is pitching, right? And the foul ball hits off. Who usually gets to keep the ball? Do you send it back to the pitching team's dugout, or is it just like whoever?
The general rule of thumb is whatever side it goes off to, that team shags the ball. So if we're in the first base dugout and it's a foul ball on the right line, our team would go
and
get
also,
it.
Hilton and Penfield in baseball have developed a pretty tense rivalry the last decade. A lot of Hilton baseball players in the last decade probably have some terrible season-ending memories of playing against Penfield.
Exactly.
Although we did have a walk-off walk in a sectional game against Penfield one time.
Exactly. and Thursday out in Penfield, they definitely spanked us. So
yeah,
it wasn't pretty. But that's Hilton baseball for you.
All right.
So you're listening to the 259 Show live on our website, the259show.com, Facebook and Twitter with the handle at the 259 Show. We have both the pages up, so feel free to comment and communicate with us through that. We'll say your comments on air if they are appropriate. Today's Power Rankings coming up in just a little bit. It was my choice this week. It is Muppets/Puppets, your favorite. Muppet/Puppet. Joe found out right before we went on air that Sesame Street characters are, in fact, both Muppets and puppets.
And just to clear the air, Fraggles
I thought
are
they were
too.
real people. It was insane.
So if you were into,
I was like, wait, there's not a real talking bird that's 7'5"?
he's 8 feet tall, Joe.
I mean, there's not a person in this world that can eat just cookies and survive.
I think Cookie Monster is starting to work some healthier foods into his diet.
No,
Maybe.
Veggie
Get out of
Monster
here
now?
with that.
He might toss a few oatmeal cookies in there once in a while.
Oatmeal cookies
Natalie
are
watched
good.
I love oatmeal cookies.
They honestly might be worse than like a chocolate chip.
Oh, yeah.
What?
The amount of
Oh, they're
butter-
terrible.
Yeah,
I never eat a Sesame
I think they're
Street.
like one of the worst for you.
Yeah.
You mean worse for you or worse in tasting?
No, best in tasting, worse for you health wise.
Oh, dude, no. Oatmeal is just lying about. It's trust issues formed because of oatmeal cookies.
It's all the brown sugar. It's all the brown sugar and butter.
I made oatmeal chocolate
think
chip
that you have a
cookies
chocolate chip
recently.
cookie, Mike, and you bite into it and it's oatmeal, and you're like, "Well, I'm
We
disappointed."
might have to.
Mike, I eat
discuss this
oatmeal.
further.
I eat oatmeal when I'm not regular and I need to take a poop. All right, I don't want it in a cookie.
Things escalating.
So we'll get to that later in the program. We got to talk about the NFL draft, which many people have been talking about.
And that's part of the reason why we chose to go Saturday morning this week. We were going to initially go midweek, but everything we would have talked about would have been extremely outdated.
Gotta say,
Well,
I
I
do miss
think another idea was to maybe go during the draft, but
Which
I'm
I
fine
would
with-
have liked that.
that would have been interesting. But it would have been interesting if we were doing it live at the same time. You know,
Exactly.
I got to say, I do miss the old Saturday noon start for the draft, although those did drag on forever.
Tyler, I was thinking about that Thursday.
It was like
night
Christmas
as I was
back
watching the
then.
Draft. Yeah, me and
Now
you.
it's just
would-
another day.
We would watch it. We would write down every pick. You know, we would like.
Now
we
the
had
internet does
you
that
have your
for you.
stupid tape recorder, and we would like be like commentating on.
Oh
the
yeah,
draft.
I can pull out the tape someday of what you said about the Cardinals after they drafted Larry Fitzgerald.
and Anquan Bolding forming a dangerous trio,
That's right, he said trio.
the three-headed monster of two men. But getting back to this draft, lots of things. I guess the first thing I want to talk about, Drew.
Oh, yeah,
is
this is Joe breaking his silence. We haven't heard from him yet about what
yeah,
the
I
Bills
haven't.
did.
I like no Facebook tweets. I'm actually at first I was kind of disappointed. I really wanted Sam Darnold, but there was no way we were going to get him. He was too good. But then I really wanted Josh Rosen. I thought Josh Rosen. I've been listening to Draft Talk nonstop. Most NFL ready. I think he was probably had the best polished quarterback. And when they picked Allen, I was like, shoot, man! Like the only thing this guy can do is throw the ball far, right? And then the argument of, oh, but he's playing in Buffalo, so he's got good arm strength. Okay, what is he going to play in 2 cold games
Yeah,
a year?
Joe,
Guess what?
did you know that
Tom
Wyoming-
Brady plays in just as many cold games. Ben Roethlisberger plays in just as many cold games. There's other teams in the North. Right, the Buffalo Bills aren't the only NFL team that plays in the Northeast of America.
Joe, did you know that Wyoming and Buffalo are basically the exact same place because they both sometimes have cold weather?
Yeah, great. In December, it might hit 30 degrees. Okay, like this man has a 3-foot long hand. I think it doesn't matter how cold it is.
It's a big hand.
That's one massive hand.
Getting back to it, I think Josh Allen is a fine pick. I think he's going to be a project that you got to kind of like. The best way I heard it was, he's a slate of marble, and let's chisel him into the quarterback that we want him to become. I think he's going to be a fine quarterback. I don't think he's going to be amazing, but he'll get the job.
I think the more impressive thing, Joe, is that the Buffalo Bills were able to move up and still retain 2 picks in the first round.
Yes, I think not giving up next year's first was
Huge.
absolutely huge.
Because that would have
And
been typical Bills, Doug Whaley's still sticking around somehow by doing overcommitted.
I think the Browns did the Bills a solid by going Baker at 1.
I agree.
They kind of screwed everything up, and
And the Giants
Buffalo
picked
was
a
able to
running
kinda,
back.
Buffalo was able to kind of play the course. It wasn't like something happened. I'm glad they didn't do what the Jets did. The Jets overreacted and they got their guy, but they gave up a lot to get him.
And
only
they could
moved
have
3
almost not
spots.
had him, too. Because
Right, that's exactly it. Their guy could have been long gone by the time they picked. And then that leads me to my next point of Tremaine Edmonds. Huge pick.
he's 19.
That guy is going to be a freak. And, basically you think of him as your second-round pick if this were a normal draft, if Buffalo, because now they have, I think, 7 picks. So you get Allen in the first, Edmonds in the second. And I hope those are the 2 cornerstones of your offense and defense for the next 10 years. So I think that's a great pick.
And now last night they picked up a D tackle, too, correct?
Kyle Williams 2.0.
Is that what it is? He's going to be training under Kyle Williams for...
He's different than Kyle Williams because Kyle Williams is a 3-gap D tackle and he's like a 1-gap, just like a clogger.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Got a disruptive 1 gap.
But no,
He ain't
he's
long enough
like,
to play 3 gap. He's got to play 1 gap.
he's a smart, tough white dude, and that's Kyle Williams. I'm pumped about it.
Speaking of which,
Good pick.
Josh Allen's tweets surfaced on Thursday
Oh,
morning. No, right away when I heard what he tweeted, I'm like, that is a joke from Modern Family. Why is this a controversy?
Because
It's something that happened 5 years ago.
Terry Pagula is not the most
Not the brightest ball.
PC guy.
I think his tweets were stupid, but the kid was in.
Is that what we're going to do now, though? Are we going to like just dig up old tweets and we don't like someone? And
I look at my time hop and I look at my on this day in Facebook, and the crap that I said as a 21-year-old in college was like, Joe, what are you doing? Like, so
if this show ever hits it big someday, you know what? Go ahead, dig up our old tweets, our old Facebook posts. We'll own up to them. We'll take the fall for them. You know.
And it's not like he said, "Oh, my buddy tweeted it" or whatever. He owned it. He's like, "Yeah, I said that. You know, I was stupid. I was a 15-year-old. I apologize. Like, I've since matured. Let's get on with it."
I heard in his interviews they asked him about it, like at the combine and whatnot. The Bills were already aware of this stuff. And
were they?
I guess he got pretty emotional, and they brought it up, and the Bills liked that about him.
Yeah, because he cried.
He cried, yeah.
I gotta say that
he cried. So.
The joke that he was referring to for Modern Family, when you watch it in context, one of the funniest moments in Modern Family's show history.
Oh, it was a Modern Family quote?
Yeah.
Oh. Was it just
that's
one
why
tweet? I didn't really read it.
There were more. I mean,
It was like 2 tweets. They were, and honestly, it wasn't the absolute. Like, yeah, obviously, there's things you cannot say. Right?
And obviously, it
words
didn't
that are
matter
off
because
limits.
he got picked higher than he was expected to.
Right.
It's not like what happened to Laramie Tunsil 2 years ago.
Oh God, that was hilarious.
Fell right into the Dolphins' lap.
So, I'm pleased. I think it was a good draft. You know, obviously it's not over, but
Joe, you mentioned that Rosen being the more NFL-ready quarterback, not necessarily something Buffalo needs right now. You just signed A.J. McCarron for a 2-year deal, and I think he could be a pretty solid option for you guys.
Let Allen
next year too, and let Allen,
let him sit for a year, just learn the offense, work with NFL coaches, you know, like all that stuff. And look, next year I'm totally fine with it being a wash year. Get a top 5 pick a best tackle in the draft, and then we're good to go.
Do the Bills retain Nathan Peterman?
They do. So the quarterbacks are Josh Allen, Nathan Peterman, and A.J. McCarron.
Yeah, you got to have a good competition in training camp.
Well, I don't think Nathan Peterman's ever going to be taken seriously in Buffalo ever again after throwing 5 interceptions and a half.
Yeah.
But I mean, Peterman, I thought would be a fine backup. Like whenever he came in backup roles, he did fine.
You know what, though? Let's not forget Peyton Manning threw 28 or 26 interceptions, I believe, his rookie year.
Yeah, it's a rookie year.
So.
Anyway, I was going to say I was worried that the Bills were going to draft Josh Rosen, and I was going to have to make a Jew Montana joke and then worry about whether or not that was an appropriate joke to make. And I only say it because I read it somewhere else about a different Jewish quarterback years ago. So I don't have to worry about that now.
Is he 100% Jewish?
His name is Josh Rosen. Yes, he is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
His dad is his mother too.
That I don't know, but no, it sounds like he is a practicing Jew, which there aren't many of in the NFL, I'm sure, but you know.
No, Tyler, I heard a lot of things about the Dolphins being in the works for a quarterback. Were you upset that they did not pick a quarterback? Or?
No, I love the pick.
Yeah, the guy you guys took is very solid.
Yeah. Minka Fitzpatrick. Coincidentally,
I guess what I'm saying though, going into the draft, were you hoping that they would have maybe moved up for a quarterback?
No, to be honest with you, Joe, I really didn't care about the draft at all. I have not been paying much attention to it at all. I just don't care anymore, and I'm content with Ryan Tannehill so long as he's healthy, at least for now. And I mean, I guess they didn't pick a quarterback in the second round, but we'll see what happens. But I really like the pick.
The Packers wanted Minka.
They did.
That's why they traded back.
Yeah. Coincidentally, I was at a meeting last Saturday for the Flag Football League, which is a ministry of First Bible Baptist Church out here in Hilton/North Greece. And there was a guest who came in who runs a sports ministry down in Tampa, and he was talking about how they send athletes on mission trips. And he said, we got a guy from we had a group of players from Alabama. One of them is going to be picked very high next week. His name's Minka Fitzpatrick. I'm like, hey, that guy might go to the Dolphins. And he did. So that was neat.
High character guy.
Oh yeah,
That's
love
what
those.
you need.
Love those those RKGs, right kind of guys. As Brian Kelly calls them. Unfortunately, Brian Kelly is a WKG.
Speaking of Brian Kelly, Tyler, I think you might have tweeted this. And can you just talk about and I realized it after watching the draft. Brian Kelly's talent on the offensive line. Just go ahead, Ty.
Joe, I was going to save this for airtime, but we'll spill it right now. So Brian Kelly, Notre Dame had 2 offensive linemen go in the top 10 of the draft, which surprised me a little bit.
Well, not Quentin Nelson, the other
No,
guy.
Quentin Nelson, I think, is the best player at his position in the entire draft. It's just he's not a quarterback, so he didn't go first, second overall. He went 6th, I believe, for the Colts. I think he's going to be an All-Pro for years to
And
come.
some were mentioning that he was the best player in the draft.
Yes.
Like he one of the most talented players to come out in the draft in the last.
So
10
Notre
years.
Dame had 2 All-Americans, 2 top 10 NFL draft picks on the left side of the offensive line, and decided to throw the ball 30 times in a hurricane in 2016. And then this past year, after just dominating teams on the ground for the first 8-9 games of the season, we'll sling it with our quarterback whose completion percentage is probably less than 50, and abandon the run game. So Brian Kelly, I believe the first college coach in history who had 2 All-Americans on the left side of the offensive line and didn't win the national championship. In fact, only went 10-3 and won the Citrus Bowl. So
it's insane. Like, and the one dude's face mask was amazing. He's got the bar
Mike
in front.
McGlinchey with the bar in the middle.
Like,
He went 9th overall to the 49ers. So needless to say, I'm not happy with Brian Kelly because you see that there's Notre Dame guys so much talent and they get drafted in the first round every year. Think of some of the guys they've had in the offensive line: Zach Martin, Nick Martin, Ronnie Stanley. What's his face?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Ronnie. No, I said Ronnie Stanley already. They had so much talent on the offensive line, and they have not stuck to the strength of the team and their recruiting base, which is big, strong Midwestern kids running the ball. No, we'll sling it in the cold weather of South Bend. You guys should stop me now before I keep going.
I will. You guys see who the Buccaneers picked up? The Vita Vea guy?
Vita Vea. Although he said his whole name on TV.
Oh, yes, he did. But you see how big that guy is? We got it here, 6'4", 347. They showed his high school tapes. I don't know if you were watching the draft. They showed him as a running back in high school. He was 3 times the size of any kid on the field. He was destroying them.
If we have a moment, Drew, I'd like to have you try to pronounce his entire name.
Let me see if I can pull it up here.
In the meantime, Mike, how'd your Packers do in the draft?
They got another cornerback in the second round, right?
I don't even know.
Their first round pick, they got this
Count
guy
on you.
Jair Alexander from Louisville, and all the Louisville, and all the analysts. They all really liked him. I never heard of him, but
Tyler, ready for this?
Yes.
Tavidi Taluka Uno Taluputu Mose Vahai
Melakwikimaka.
Fileta Vita Vea.
wow.
Nice. He said it on TV in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew, I'm watching this Vita Vea guy, what you just said. This is not
His high school?
this is insane.
Can you
Like,
cue up his
he's
actual
like 280,
pronunciation?
and he's got the feet of like a wide receiver.
And you can imagine what these guys who are legitimate NFL prospects looked like in high school. But even a guy like Jerron Jones, who was from Rochester, Aquinas, went to Notre Dame, even just watching him against his high school competition, and he is like twice the size of everyone, and just like
This is
hilarious.
for the Giants.
he's on the Cowboys practice squad.
Oh, he's on
Yeah.
Cowboys.
So think about that. Think about how much talent he has. That he's a practice squad guy in the NFL. I mean, he could make a roster.
What do those guys
someday.
get paid?
I have no idea.
Look at this. I just pulled it up in the on the big board here. He's just like a beast.
Wow.
This is in high school.
Could you imagine trying to tackle that?
And this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
now he's like a monster.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. He probably played running back and defensive lineman.
All these guys are probably dead. There's a lot of guys who play like offensive line in college who played like
Oh yeah.
wide receiver. Like Lane Johnson, I remember reading that he played like quarterback for a while, played receiver, tight end, and now he's playing offensive tackle for the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, like they're not even attempting to tackle this guy.
What position you get drafted as?
Just
He's a
running next to
D
him.
tackle.
Yeah.
Tackle.
Where did he go to? I'm assuming he's from
He went to Washington.
Pacific West Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, here
Northwest.
he is on.
Running
He's
down
going to destroy this kid.
a fast little guy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's from
Wait, can you
California.
get I want to hear him say his name. Can you
Listen.
get that?
See if we could pull that up. In the meantime, I was gonna say I didn't really get. I know that like a lot of Bills fans were really hyped
Hey,
for this
I
draft,
counted
but
the
like
characters.
even my team was like supposedly
I'm gonna
looking
put
for
up to
a
the test
franchise
and you
quarterback too, but I have had a hard time getting interested this year. I used to do all this research and stuff. My dad still does.
Yeah.
But I
Well, does your dad still get that Kuiper Big Buck?
yeah.
I don't think Kuiper does anymore, he said.
Or he got Our Lads, I know that.
Oh, because I got like a magazine.
My dad used to destroy trees printing out the entire Our Lads draft book at work every year.
For him and his friends.
Well, his buddy would buy it, and then my dad would copy it.
Oh, okay.
And my dad would buy Mel,
Just
and,
like
and
the
give it to his friend.
just like the BJ's membership card. All right, Joe.
Live in La Vida Loca.
Here's how he pronounces his name.
Poloto Mosesi Vahai Falatau.
Look at his face.
Hey, you did a great job, Kay.
Go
You did
for
a
it.
great job. No, you did it
Oh,
well.
okay.
I'm just.
How do you really say it?
You got it spot on.
Got it spot on. All right, now listen. Let's.
You say it, please.
I got you. Te invito a Tulia que yo no estoy piloto Moisés Baja faletao vea.
What he said. Your full name.
Yeah, what he said.
Wow.
That's
How?
impressive.
Why?
Yeah, that's put that on a jersey.
Yeah. So back in the day,
I don't know where his last name
Starts.
Their first name ends and last name starts, middle name.
Just curious, like I'm sure all those names mean something, right?
Oh.
So it's probably like all the names in his family's history or whatever.
the other
Earth,
thing that kind
wind.
of takes away from the draft day experience is that you can find out who everyone's going to pick on Twitter now, like a few minutes before it actually happens, which is more
Oh
convenient.
yeah, because
I'll admit I was
see
doing
the guy
that.
answering the phone and
Yeah.
That's
On,
kinda
on
lame.
TV, they don't tip the picks anymore, but you can easily find out just by going on Twitter and looking up like anything.
Yeah.
It speeds it up though.
I like that they moved the time to 10 minutes too. 15 was way too long.
I mean, it literally used to take 6 hours to complete
It was
the first
ridiculous.
round.
Yeah. So
Joe, did
I
you
will say I'm very frustrated because like I understand why they're moving it. Like I think it being in Jerry World was really good TV and really good like marketing.
They
It was,
could have
like,
done
they
that.
knocked it out of the park. But I'm like frustrated. Like I finally moved to New York and the draft isn't here. Like something that I would 100% go to.
Joe-
It turns into a bigger and bigger spectacle every year.
Joe, it's just a matter of time before it's in Times Square, buddy.
It used to simply be it used
yeah,
to just
it'd
be
be
like a
back in New
hotel
York.
conference room, like not even that,
The
like
Marriott.
going back like
Yeah.
25 years. It wasn't even that big.
they didn't televise. Did they even televise that?
Back in the day, they didn't because it used to be like Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
and it's
I can't believe that they didn't use the full stadium, too. They only had like a third of it open.
oh, we'll get there. Don't worry, Drew. Someday.
I know. And one last thing, Joe. Did you see the new shirt coming out by 26?
Was it Josh Allentown?
Allentown? The Allentown
Yeah.
side? I
Yeah.
like that.
Ooh.
Those shirts are great, man. Like if I didn't have any self control, I would buy one.
What
of them.
number is he going to be?
17.
17.
And Joe,
Yeah.
there was some Twitter backlash on it that people said it's still Kyle Williams' team, so it should have been a Williamsville shirt. So
No. Yeah, I mean he's the franchise quarterback though, so you got to get behind him.
Kyle Williams, franchise quarterback.
So
I
the-
will say the thing that I miss, I wish Tyler, is Pete Rozelle still alive?
no, he died 21 years ago.
Okay, never mind then, because I really
to
want
the day.
I really want another draft where it's
Jim Thorpe.
quarterback, Ron Pitt, Dan Marino.
And even Paul Tagliabue had a very distinct cadence when he announced the pick.
Yeah.
With the third pick in the 2004 NFL Draft,
I'm surprised Roger Goodell hasn't stepped down yet. People
that is
hate-
my favorite thing in the draft is when he goes up on stage every time and gets booed mercilessly.
It's like I almost feel bad for the guy, but it's
No,
hilarious.
you don't feel bad for him at all.
No, well, he
He
sucks.
even
I
brought
know he's
up
terrible.
Cowboy Legends. That
That was fun to watch the old players from all the teams come up and try
Yeah.
to like get everyone fired up.
Yeah.
David Akers was the Eagles representative last
Yeah,
night,
you
and he
see
came and
that?
just taunted the Cowboys fans.
That was actually very funny. Yeah.
And Willie Brown, who's a Hall of Fame defensive back from the Raiders, every year he comes up and says, "Hey, Mother's Day's coming up. Remember to go buy your mother a nice gift."
I was very confused by that. I was like, is this guy like
He does that every year.
hammered or like what is going on? But okay, that's nice.
Oh, Joe, you're the only
Yes.
one of us who has actually attended the NFL draft before.
I've been to the fifth round of the NFL draft. Yes.
So the story behind that is there was a bus trip from when we were at St. Bonaventure. I believe it was our sophomore year. It was a day
Yeah, I
trip
went
from New
with-
York City.
I went
Joe
with,
went.
like, a
And
couple
I'm like,
buddies that
Joe,
didn't.
you know the draft is going on there this weekend. He's like, you're right.
Yeah. So
you
we
guys stepped
checked
in.
out like 3 picks.
You
But,
could get inside for free?
Yeah, it's free. You just walk in.
Because that was back then. That was like day 3 of the draft.
Oh yeah, there's probably no one in there.
Because it used to just for years it was at the like either Radio City or Madison Square Garden Theater, and now it's into like big stadiums and stuff.
Yeah.
It would be neat to see it come to Buffalo one of these years. I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. But
Where would they have it in Buffalo?
if that, I mean, they're moving around to NFL cities, but clearly they're trying to go to the big NFL cities first. So it'll be a while before they get to Buffalo if they ever do.
Where's
but it
it
would be
next
fun
year?
to watch. I don't know if they've announced it yet. It seems like they pick it as the year goes on now.
Depends who they anger during the season.
Yeah.
And then
Because it was in New York City up until just a few years ago. Then it moved to Chicago for a couple of years, then Philly, now Dallas. So you're looking at probably
it's gotta be
probably
LA
LA.
next year.
Yeah, whenever that stadium's done, yeah.
They'll go to
yeah.
Houston and other stuff. Miami probably.
But Joe, I do think, Joe, it's just a matter of time before it's a Times Square draft. Like,
I'm sure
they take over the
yeah, I
whole
mean-
Times Square for it.
Which I would go to it for. That'd be a lot of fun. But
You know what though? The NFL
That'd be a
can't.
mess.
I would like to see the NFL can't.
it'd be worse.
put
It would be similar to when the ball drops.
Yeah.
Just like
The
nuts.
NFL can't put the Super Bowl in cities like Buffalo or even like Pittsburgh. It would be neat to see the draft go there. At least throw them a bone once in a while.
No, they hit us.
Because you see all the warm weather cities get this, or dome stadium cities get the Super Bowl. I'd like to see some of the other cities get the draft. But, that's beyond my control. The NFL is a non-profit organization, by the way.
Is it still? I thought they got
Maybe
rid
it's
of it.
not anymore, but it was for a very long time at least.
Joe, you do have a note here for... oh, you did. You just got rid of it. Your do for
Yeah.
the week was draft related.
Yeah, I changed my mind. Tyler made me change my mind. I was gonna say the people who were there was one that really annoyed me, like Nate Burleson when he was presenting at the draft.
Oh, yeah.
Or like just when the guys were like making it all about them rather than making it about the players. Like what the Bills did is going to be part of my airtime was amazing. And like what Willie Brown did was cool. Like, but some of those guys were just like
Nate Burleson's
totally
was a
just
little...
like
Nate Burleson's was a little self-indulgent. I mean, he was trying to
it was
fire.
like-
he only played for the Lions for 4 years, and he was just like an average receiver.
yeah, like I think what the Cowboys did, where they brought up the family of a soldier who passed away.
Oh, you bring up the
that's
troops
really
every
nice.
time, and that's going to hit every
Yeah,
sensibility.
like Bob Lilly was there. They were all wearing Bob Lilly jerseys, and they brought up this like family, and that's awesome. Like that's really cool. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But, like some of these guys are like, "Yo, my team, yo, Detroit." Like,
Okay,
Greatest
when you
city
talk about the
in the
Lions, you're not going to get any response, good or bad, in Dallas.
like where are all my Lion fans at? There's 7 of them here, man. Like they're not
in the
here.
back, in the nosebleeds.
They did not come. Okay.
Did Tampa Bay kick it back out to the zoo this year? Or not yet? Is that today? Wasn't Tampa Bay the one that kept doing their picks live from the city zoo last year?
I don't even remember.
I think that was a
What
thing.
was strange is that some teams would bring up like absolute legends, like the Browns had Jim Brown, who's arguably the greatest player of all
the
time.
team's named after him.
Yeah, and then the Lions trot out Nate Burleson, who was an average receiver for them for 4 years, and most people recognize him because he's on TV now.
It's like, did you try Barry? Yeah, Barry's
probably no thanks.
I did like his
Herman Moore.
I did like his Eddie Murphy Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley Lions jacket that he was wearing. Though that was neat.
Yes, that was a cool jacket. But yeah, his was a little self-indulgent. Too self-indulgent.
Who the Bills had Fred Jackson, right?
Fred Jackson and Andre Reed. Which is Freddie just retired as a Bill, so I think that was fitting. So
All right, let's move off of the draft talk, however. There's still some quick football notes to get to here.
Joe, we didn't get to hear your reaction to the NFL schedule last week. What do you think? Are there any games you plan on attending? What are you looking forward to?
I always try to make it an effort to go to the Bills-Jets game at the Meadowlands. I'll probably do the same thing this year. I'm pumped they got a primetime game Monday night, but we're playing the Patriots, so that's a wash. The one thing I always look out for is when Miami has to come up to Buffalo.
Yes.
Because I always want it to be like freezing and cold and all that stuff. So I'm excited that's the last week of the year. But I mean,
But you're not going to be home for it.
No, I won't, unfortunately. But yeah, I wasn't happy. I wasn't upset. Like it is what it is. Like a lot of 1:00 games is not surprising.
Would you consider going to other games that don't involve the Bills in your now home region of New York City?
I wouldn't want to because I'd rather watch the Bills. Like I get the NFL Sunday tickets.
If it was their bye week or the week they're playing on Monday.
Oh, yeah,
The Giants and Jets are at home.
That's what's happening. The Giants and Jets are playing each other at Meadowlands.
No, I'm saying, what would you go to a Giants or Jets game to see like some other team that you don't normally get to see?
I would much rather go to a Giants game because I would rather see an NFC versus NFC game. I don't get to see those.
Like
games
if you
all
could
the
see
time.
the Giants host the Cowboys or something.
Like actually, that would be pretty sweet. Yeah. Maybe I would do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to correct one thing that we said, and I didn't have the schedule in front of me when we talked about this last week, but there, week 16, I was asking if there were any Saturday games, and you said no. And it turns out, and you wouldn't have known this, but they're going to flex 2 of the games that are scheduled for that Sunday, week 16, to Saturday. They've picked 4 games. 2 of those will move to Saturday. They're going to announce that after week 8. So there will be 2 Saturday games the week right before Christmas.
Nice.
So enjoy that.
Are there any Dolphin games that you are, other than the Bills one?
Breaking news, Drew. I'm ready to announce which game I will be attending this year.
Oh, boy.
And it's going to be in Miami.
Oh,
I will be going to the Miami Dolphins versus, drumroll please. Do we have any guesses? The Miami Dolphins hosting the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
December 2nd in Miami.
So you're going to go to Miami to be disappointed. Because usually those games, Miami doesn't usually have much offense.
You want to see him play
until like
someone
late
else?
in the third quarter, they get close enough, and then they just.
I think the point is Tyler finally is going to be in a crowd that is cheering against the Bills while he's watching his
Maybe.
Dolphins.
If the Dolphins season goes off the rails early, maybe we'll see more Bills fans there, but that's a long way away.
Don't you want to see him play a different team?
It just happened that was the best weekend opportunity for me to go. So. And I had
is it just a weekend trip? You guys making
it's
it
just
like
me.
a Friday, Monday?
What happened was, as I talked about before, we had to cancel our vacation to Miami that was supposed to be this past week. So I had some leftover vacation time because of that, and I had $200 toward a flight because of that as well, because we had to cancel the flight. So I put that toward going to Miami. I paid less than $100 out of my pocket for a quick weekend trip down to Miami.
Did you get the ticket yet?
No, I won't buy the ticket for a while, but I bought the plane ticket, not the game ticket.
Gotcha.
So I'll be leaving on Saturday morning, coming back Monday afternoon, and going to see the Dolphins play the Bills.
2 nights in a hotel in Miami.
And it's just me. Just a Tyler trip.
How are you going to
Weekend
Uber?
for some self-reflection.
Yeah, how are you going to Uber around?
Yeah.
I'm not going to Uber around. I'm going to rent a car.
Why?
You should just Uber around, man.
Because I have to talk to someone, and I don't want to do that. I'm trying to avoid talking to
You
people.
got to talk to the lady at the guy at the car rental.
Yeah, but I can handle
We're
it.
going to drive to the game?
It depends. If I can find a hotel close enough, I
Tyler
would
will
just
show up
walk.
to the game at 12:55. Don't worry.
No. If I'm going, I'm getting there early to go explore.
No, wait.
the stadium.
Tyler might have an iPhone by then because his 10-year anniversary is
That's
this
also
summer?
true. That's also
so
true.
Tyler might be...
Wait a minute.
Up to speed.
Wait. Are you getting a new phone?
No. I'm just saying. I have said this before on
He's
this
waiting
program.
for 10
that
year. The 10
once I
year
hit the
mark.
10-year, it might be forced to happen. We'll see.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not going to commit to anything
I
right
can't
now.
believe that they still allow that phone.
Who's we? Who's they?
The government. we no longer have old
Hey.
televisions, but old phones.
We are
okay.
not, Drew. We are.
Yeah, they still have the pay by the minute.
We
phone
still
and all
have
that stuff.
individual liberties in this country. So
When I drop my phone in chocolate milk.
breaking news: what's the village of Hilton passing that I need to know about?
I just found out on Twitter here, going back to sports talk, former Cardinals coach Bruce Arians will join the CBS booth.
I was going to get this some NFL TV news in a moment.
Oh, you already knew that?
I wasn't going to mention that though.
Oh, so it looks like that just broke. So
I saw that yesterday. A report, at least. I don't know if there's anything official. But yeah, looking forward to going down to Miami. It'll be the first time in 5 years that I've gone to a Dolphins game. Only the second time I've been to a Dolphins game, actually. We were supposed to go to a preseason game on our honeymoon, but we ended up leaving early because of the threat of a hurricane, so we had to miss that. So that was disappointing. Then we had to cancel our vacation down there this time. So that was disappointing, but now I'm making up for it by going on a Tyler weekend to see the Dolphins in December.
Chick-fil-A and rental car.
You know what, though? I don't know that I'll go to Chick-fil-A down there just because we have it here now. I might just visit
You're
some...
going to get some Cuban food?
Versailles. Best Cuban restaurant, I'm told, in Miami. I've been to it each of the 2 times I've been there before, and I plan to go there again.
Anything else?
It's in Little Havana in Miami.
Anything else there for sports talk, Taylor?
all of Miami, Little Havana.
Hey! So Jason Witten is apparently retiring finally. He's played for 15 years, all with the Cowboys. And he's going to join Monday Night Football.
Nice.
So it'll be Joe Tessitore and Jason Witten, the team calling the games.
Interesting.
And I tweeted mentioning this yesterday. Jason Witten, for years, gave hope to slow white guys everywhere. That guy ran like a 7-second 40, and he could still get open on every team.
I did see the
Future Hall of Famer for sure.
All right, let's shift gears here, dive into this week's Power Rankings.
It's time for the 259 Show's weekly Power Ranking.
This week's Power Rankings was my choice. I chose your favorite Muppet/Puppet. This could be from the Muppets, from Sesame Street, or anything else that you wish. I'll periodically be playing Muppet theme in the background for you. Yeah, a couple.
Start it right now. Fire it up.
And I'll go first, and then we'll go. Instead of going around the table, we'll go me, Mike, Tyler, Joe.
Wow.
Ooh, boy.
So I got 2 lists. Can I do one list, then go to Joe, then come back to me?
No, that's not how that works.
I get to wrap things up this week, Ty.
Better be good.
Trying.
All right, so my top 5 favorite Muppets. Number 5 is a duo. I've got 2 of these on my list, actually.
Are we allowing that?
Yes, because I make the rules. It's the duo of Statler and Waldorf. The old guys. The old grumpy guys.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are
They're not just old, they're grumpy.
Number 4 on my list is another set of another duo here. Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and Beaker. Number 3.
The names are so great.
Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and his assistant Beaker.
Number 3 on my list is the only Sesame Street character. It's Grover.
Grover. Oh, aptly named.
Yes. Number 2 is Fozzie Bear. And number 1, no surprise here, is Swedish Chef.
Chocolate honey mousse.
I imitate him sometimes in the kitchen, especially making eggs in the morning.
Yeah.
Just start banging things. Just
Drew's the Swedish Chef.
So, that is my list. Michael.
I like it.
Mike,
Number 5.
big Muppets fan, Mike.
Big Muppets fan. I mean, I just don't remember them. Number 5.
Mike grew up in a different time than the rest of us.
From Full House, Mr. Woodchuck.
Wow.
Oh,
From
did you
way
see
downtown.
Way downtown.
That's a good one.
Mr. Woodchuck was good. I liked when Joey got his own show, the Mr. Woodchuck show or whatever it was, Ranger Joe.
I want to hear your favorite
Mr.
Full House
Woodchuck.
characters someday.
Oh, yeah, we could go over that.
That's a great list. Full House is a great show, man.
Thank you. Number 4, Cookie Monster. We were big fans of the Cookie Monster at my house. Number 3, you gotta go with the duo of Bert and Ernie, the Rubber Ducky. Right, they're the Rubber Ducky guys, right? Yeah.
Bert and Ernie. Little Michael and Uncle E.
Yeah, there you go. Number 2, Pinocchio.
He's a puppet.
He's a puppet.
He's a cartoon.
And a puppet. Cartoon puppet. I think that counts as a list. Number 1, Big Kermit the Frog. I like him. And the memes are funny too. So.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, so I did, guys. I had so many. I could have done a top 50. I separated my top 5 Sesame Street characters, my top 5 Muppet show characters. We'll go Sesame Street first. A surprise number 5 on my list of my favorite Sesame Street characters: Kermit the Frog. Made the occasional appearance on Sesame Street from time to time. Of course, he's the greatest Muppets character of all time, the greatest Muppet of all time. But I'm going to put him on my Sesame Street list as well. Number 4, you gotta go Grover, Super Grover, if you will.
Yep.
And the inspiration for the name of the growth on Drew's leg, Grover. Number 3, or excuse me, Flea. Count Von Count.
I like Count.
That's an awesome name, too, by the way.
7 bats.
Is this the real life? This is the Muppets Bohemian Rhapsody. Sorry.
Number 2, you gotta go Elmo. That crazy red furry little monster you. Our little baby has an Elmo diaper, and it's fun when she poops on it. And number 1, you have to go.
A lot of fun.
You have to go Cookie Monster. Cookie, as a competitive eater, I've got the greatest inspiration from Cookie Monster. Watching him just down all those cookies is truly an inspiration to me. Okay, so when you go to your top 5 Muppets characters. Number 5, Little known character, unless you were a fan of the 1996 hit television show on ABC, Muppets Tonight, Clifford the Catfish, who played the saxophone, I believe. Number 4, you gotta go with the piano-playing talking dog, Rolf.
Oh, dude, that guy's on my list too.
Yeah, Rolf, hey, play the piano. Number 3, Joe, I'm sorry to steal this one from you, although you were stealing it from me.
It's all you.
Lou Zealand, who has the best line in The Great Muppet Caper. Good idea. Here's the paper towel. He's best described as a little... he looks like Ernie, except he has like a clown suit and a mustache. You'll recognize him if you see him. He throws fish at everything. Lou Zealand. Number 2, gotta go Swedish Chef. We've covered this already. He's great. Well, he's the second greatest. Number 1, upset pick here. You guys think I'm going Kermit, but I'm not. I'm going with Pepe the King Prawn, okay?
I was just going to say that's what it's got to be.
You should see that. I know if you're a Good Morning America fan, the videos of Pepe the King Prawn hitting on Lara Spencer are fun to watch.
I hate Lara Spencer.
Wait, you don't even have Kermit on your list?
Kermit was on my number 5 on my Sesame Street.
Kermit was singing at your wedding, Tyler.
I know. No, Kermit is very high, but there's so many good characters to choose from. I just wanted to pick some unique ones I didn't think anyone else would have. But
that's what
it's
I'm
hard to
trying
argue.
do.
Kermit is the greatest Muppet puppet of all time.
Agreed.
He's great. All right, so this is a fun list to make that I started at 8:45 this morning. Number 5, Cookie Monster. I love cookies. They're so good. And he's the guy who just eats cookies as his job.
That's your dream job, isn't it?
That would be amazing. Number 4 is the man with the jokes.
Fozzie.
Oh, yeah.
Waka waka.
He's a funny guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, we gotta tell that story when we're done with this list, Joe.
It's not even Fozzie Bear either. Number 3, like Tyler said, Rolf the dog. He just seemed like a really fun guy to hang out with. I mean,
The best part about the talking piano-playing dog is that he has the voice of a human. Like a gruff man.
Number 2. How is this not Tyler? Animal! Woman! Animal's hilarious.
I can see how all of these characters have influenced Joe's personality.
And then number 1 is total like left field. Yoda.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda. Jedi Knight, man. Don't mess with Yoda. Yoda's gonna protect all my Muppets. I left out New Zealand, Tyler, just because you mentioned him. I didn't feel like the need to mention him again. But that quote of the paper towel fueled Tyler and I's conversations for at least 7 years.
I'll bring the paper towels.
Beaker is hilarious.
There's one glaring omission that we had, though.
There's a couple.
There's a couple. Sam the Eagle is
You were all weirdos.
And then there was one dude that's really funny, and I always felt bad for him. Sweetums.
Sweetums.
Huge,
I never knew.
Huge ogre-looking guy who would just like walk in at the end of every movie and be like, "I'm here," and then they're like, "Yo, Sweetums, it's over, man. You should have came like 3 weeks ago." But oh man, that's a good list.
We also left off the house band, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, which happened to be in like everything.
We did mention the animal, though, who was
did.
the drummer.
Gonzo.
Gonzo the Great.
I don't feel bad for Gonzo.
I'm a big fan of Gonzo.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up my Gonzo story. I think it was the Great Muppet Caper. Am I right?
What's the story? I don't know.
Well, that's where he says the stop the presses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And the Great Muppet Caper, at the beginning of the movie, they're at a newspaper. Whatever you do at a newspaper thing, I don't know. How
type on the typing machine.
The typing machine, and Gonzo runs in and he's like, "Stop the presses!" and the editor in chief is like, "Why? What happened?" And Gonzo's just like, "I don't know. I just always wanted to yell that." And so, a dear friend of mine, I think he listens to the program, Brian Clark,
AKA Sam the Eagle.
AKA Clarky, Sam the Eagle. He had this idea where we would run into the BV, the newspaper Tyler was the editor.
The student newspaper at St. Bonaventure University.
Right,
the
thank you.
Bonaventure.
The Bonaventure, the BV, and we would run in and scream that and then run out. So the night we planned on doing it, I actually backed out. I was like, Clunky, I don't want to do this. And he came over to where I was on duty as an RA, and he's like, Joe, we have to do this. So at midnight, it was Wednesday night, I think, was the night you guys stayed late.
And it was one of the last ones of the year, if I recall correctly.
And so we run in, and we sprint in.
Joe alerted me that they were doing this, and I gave him permission. No one else knew it was happening.
We sprint in, we yell, stop the presses, and then we run back out, and then that was it. And like, it was just funny because like some members of your staff were just like, "Whoa, what? Wait, what? What is happening?"
It was more like a what?
We made the quote wall as.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so.
I got to throw out one of the most recent Muppet movie. The power duo of Sam the Eagle and Phil Dunphy. If you guys have seen it, oh, you gotta watch that. We left Oscar Grouch,
Yep.
Big Bird, Mr. Snuffleupagus, Telly Monster, Harry Monster. And
What are our thoughts on Elmo? Is he just annoying or?
I had Elmo number 2 on my Sesame Street list. Big fan.
Yeah.
Is he just annoying?
He's a furry red little monster.
I like Elmo.
And he's a good boy.
There's a couple Muppets where I always laugh when they come up.
Yes.
Because they're so infrequent. Crazy Harry, the guy who blows up everything.
The dynamite.
How about the news reporter?
Yeah.
The bear, what's his name? Bobo the bear.
Yes, I always
laugh.
laugh. The big goofy bear.
He's always like airport security.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if there's any Muppet movies.
Pepe
on
the
Netflix.
prawn. Oh.
Pepe is hilarious.
Okay.
Rizzo the rat.
You love Pepe. Pepe loves you. Okay.
Okay. Oh man, Muppets it's timeless. Like those things are great.
I didn't care for their most recent foray into television though. The show that was called The Muppets, I think, on ABC. They did a mockumentary style, lasted one season. I didn't really care for it, but I still love the
I'm gonna
Muppets.
YouTube Muppets clips when we're done with this thing.
There is a museum. I'll send you the link. It's on my list of things to do in New York City. It's like Museum of the Moving Picture or something like that.
Yeah, and it's in Queens, in Astoria.
Exactly. It's actually like right down the street from my brother's place. There is a whole floor there for Jim Henson and his Muppets, and he's got like the original Kermit and all that kind of stuff there.
Well, I think the tentative plan for New York is
Museum
Tyler. No, Tyler wants to come for the Notre Dame game. I think that would be I think we should make that happen, and then maybe do the Muppet Museum.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah, I'll go at some other time. But thank you. Thanks for the invite.
You can skip the game, Drew.
Drew, you're allowed to come as well.
No, I'm all set.
No, I'm good.
So at the end of today's program, Mike will introduce us with next week's topic.
To our next week's topic.
Yes.
Have we been getting any reaction on Facebook today? We are
no,
live.
It's dead. Silent radio dead.
Decent. It's a good show today too, man.
I know. What are we doing wrong? I think that's what we got to look at.
What's next on the agenda? I got some food talk items if you'd like to delve into that.
Go for
Food talk. There was another follow-up story on the Grease Chick-fil-A traffic this week. I think that'll be a weekly thing. But apparently the plans are in progress to bring a second Chick-fil-A to our area. Take
where?
a wild guess where you think that
Henrietta.
would be. Yes.
I feel like we've talked about this multiple times.
I know, but when you hear it again,
West Henrietta Road?
I don't know where. I think they're trying to study this one in Greece to figure out how the traffic situation is working there.
Have you read any of the comments on the stories on
Yeah, and
Facebook?
I've learned to stop reading the comments because apparently the only people who aren't going to Chick-fil-A comment on these things.
But it's not even that, but the recommendations people are making, like Chick-fil-A should build a standalone drive-through in the mall, or the parking lot of the mall, and stuff like that.
That probably would have been a better idea if they would have moved into the mall instead of across from the mall.
We do have one comment here on Facebook from one Amanda Diedrich.
Oh, boy.
Ring the bell.
She says, my dad once said that someone's feelings on the Muppets will tell you a lot about the person. Good to hear y'all are good folks. And then she says, P.S. Natalie says, hi, Daddy. Ba, 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 ba.
Wait, is she saying words?
I doubt it.
Can Natalie speak the English
Did
language?
she actually say y'all?
She did say y'all.
Wow.
I believe. Let me go back and
You-
verify.
you
it.
Ted's
all-
gonna go home and
She, as a good Northerner, she said "you all." That's a great.
She did
that's
say
a
you
great
all.
piece of-
That I just.
You said y'all. You.
That's a great
Morphed
piece of
together.
advice. I've never heard that before. My dad once said that feelings on the Muppets will tell you about a
Hey,
person. That's so true, man.
Russ Klein is a wise man.
I do have to say, for Christmas, Sam got me the Muppet DVDs.
All of them?
No, the recent Muppet movie DVDs.
I bought Amanda all of them for her birthday, I believe, a few years ago. Like all the movies.
Wait, I'm sorry. Why did the bell need to be rung for her birthday?
I mentioned her.
Okay.
Favorite Muppet movie before we get back to food talk. We kind of skipped over this. Mine is definitely Christmas Carol.
Muppet Caper.
I really haven't seen it
Oh,
that many
shoot,
times.
Drew, that's a good point.
What?
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Carol or the Muppet Caper.
Yeah.
I gotta go the Great Muppet Caper just because that was the one that we owned at my house and I would watch it all the time back in the day. I do like the two recent ones though.
Muppet, was it Hidden Treasure?
Treasure Island.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
First there's the original, the Muppet movie, and then the Great Muppet Caper.
Then there was one where Gonzo
Muppets
went
in
to
Space.
right?
Yep. Yep. Treasure Island.
There's a lot of great lines from the Great Muppet Caper. Like as an adult watching it now, like the dude in England that was like they were looking for a free place to stay, and he's like places to park your carcasses, like park benches, bus stops, the Happiness Hotel.
At the Happiness Hotel. Oh, by the way, okay, the Muppet Show, we haven't even gotten to that, but all the specials that they've had, the Muppet Family Christmas, the greatest crossover of all time. I know the Avengers is out in the theaters now. If you've never seen the Muppet Family Christmas, watch it on YouTube. It was a collection of the Muppets and their friends from Sesame Street, and then the Fraggles from Fraggle Rock came in as well. It's awesome. It's never on TV, but you can find it on YouTube. I highly recommend it.
Is that the one where Big Bird's ice skating to Feliz Navidad?
No, that is
I remember
that's
that.
Christmas on Sesame Street.
Okay.
And
I
then,
remember that.
And then who was it? Who was it that crashed into the garbage barrel and rolled all the way down? Was it Bert?
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up. I got to fact check that. Christmas on Sesame Street next week. Okay. Yeah, Muppets are great. Oh, okay. So back to food talk.
here.
TC Hooligans, which has been a mainstay at the Mall at Grease Ridge
Forever.
for almost 2 decades now, is moving.
TC Hooligans used to have a second restaurant out in Webster.
It's now,
And now it's just Hooligans, I
yeah,
believe.
it's something
Sorry.
different. It's got hooligans in the name, but
They used to be the same.
right.
Drew,
I remember
real quick.
going there with you that one time.
I believe the answer, as Miss Diedrich said, Muppet Christmas Carol for sure is the best, and she also likes Muppet Treasure Island because Tim Curry is excelente.
Yeah. He's the bad guy in that movie. I believe.
Bad boy. Drew, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
One more Muppet note I just thought of. Have the Muppets ever hosted Saturday Night Live? Has Kermit
That's
ever...
a good point. Kermit made an appearance on the Christmas special with Robert De Niro in like 2004, maybe.
Because at one
But
point,
they've never
the
hosted.
Muppets they weren't owned by NBC, but they had a contract with NBC.
Yeah,
for
the
a
very
long
first
time.
season of Saturday Night Live, they had like Muppet skits, but it wasn't the Muppets. It was different characters who you wouldn't recognize probably.
All right, so that was one last thing I was thinking about with Muppets.
Yeah, so
So Hooligans over by Famous Dave's now, or will be.
it's moving into the old Famous Dave's. Yeah. My
Is there
question:
anything at Zeb's? Or is it empty?
Zeb's is McGregor's now.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's now McGregor's. But way back there, there's nothing. The old. I don't know if that building's still there.
What was the name of the place that was way back in there? I think it's a hotel.
Is
They
it?
put up they probably tore it down and put up a hotel.
Someone
There's
was
also
shot there.
Uno. Uno turned into Zeb's. Or no, or was Uno Famous Dave?
Uno was McGregor's.
Okay, yeah, so it was Uno, then it's Zeb's, now McGregor's.
Bob Evans was Famous Dave's, I think.
Yes. There also used to be Don Pablo's across the street, which is now the distillery. So my question is, what's going into TC Hooligans?
What's going into Sears?
Also a good question. They could probably put a Chick-fil-A in there.
Probably could. I did read some things online that made it sound like they're going to do what they did to Bonton, where they're going to just tear it down and put 5 or 6 smaller places in.
Yeah, malls are having a tough time right now trying to figure out what they're going to do in the future. Like the big malls are doing well. You know, like you look at like Eastview, Galleria, but these mid-sized malls that are
Grease Ridge
struggling.
Mall is actually the biggest mall in the area.
It is
By square
It
foot.
is, yes.
I read that on.
Oh, it's because it used to be 2 malls and then they combined into one. I like the Grease Ridge Mall. It's not doing bad. It's still got a pretty good occupancy rate from what I can tell. I haven't actually been in there.
I still got your store over there, Tyler. Spencer's!
Oh!
His name's Spencer. Middle name's
Yeah,
Spencer.
this
why
is true.
It's Tyler's.
Tyler S. Dieter.
Yep. Tyler's Diedrich. So yeah, I'm curious to see what goes into TC Hooligans, which has been there almost 20 years now at the mall.
The plans for the new one it looks nice.
Yeah. And
The one at the mall need a little
from
bit
what I
of
can
a
tell,
facelift.
TC Hooligans is a pretty
It does pretty well, I think.
good following of
Yeah.
people from Greece.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we got one more note on here, Drew.
I need schmegs.
You need schmegs. What's the plan?
Let's go next weekend.
What's the move?
Next weekend, Dr. Jake will be home.
That's true. We're going.
Let's do it.
We're going.
Saturday morning?
Yeah. All right.
And then
Yeah.
we'll come podcast after?
See if Uncle E wants to join.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
get my roommate Steve's been wanting to give it a try.
Maybe Greg will go.
We'll have a big party.
Look at that.
schmegs fan
Better
there.
go early.
We'll run out the back room.
Yeah, we
Joe
gotta
will
go
come
around.
into town for it.
Joe's coming to
Joe's
town.
flying in. Joe got a 6 a.m. flight out of LaGuardia.
Just for schmegs.
Yeah, so
Just
Drew,
thanks, baby.
on the rundown, Drew wrote, I need schmegs, and then under it, with a separate bullet point, I wrote, so do I.
It's been a while.
It has.
Which was the same thing that we did for the
We
Power Pizza
take
party.
the convertible again.
Oh, yeah, it's been like, what, 6 months?
Yeah.
I have been driving top down a little bit.
We did go...
Have you? I
we
saw
went-
somebody last Sunday. A little too early for going top down.
We went,
was it?
55.
weekend of Thanksgiving we went.
I didn't.
Oh,
The baby
almost-
came. Yeah, Joe came.
The one where I almost
Oh,
dropped
yeah.
Natalie while
Yeah.
drinking my coffee.
Yeah, the baby was
Yeah,
nice.
that
Spilled
was
your
fun.
coffee all over.
Oh, because I'm holding Natalie, and I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling pretty comfortable about this, so I'm gonna go drink my coffee
Let
too.
me toss her up in the air and switch
And
hands
then
here.
Natalie's like head just like falls, and Amanda's like,
And Amanda's just
Joe, Joe, and I'm like, what?
Joe, my word. So, yeah. Food talk. Out.
Out. All right, let's wrap the end of this program up with some airtime. This week, my airtime is a quick shout-out thank you to our Hamlin Fire Department friends who came over and bailed us out last week into their construction project. I'm sure we'll have to pay them back in some way or fashion. And I also want it to be noted that we had 3 members of the Hamlin Fire Department here. None of them opened a single can of beer. I had a cooler out there for
But
them.
did they all come in their own pickup truck?
No, they all came together. And
In one pickup truck?
No, it was actually a minivan. They brought their kids. It was a whole thing. We ended up getting pizza and wings, some Caraglios.
You had some Hamlin kids over here? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Playing ball in the
Cedar
yard?
Terrace. We showed
Did you take him to the park at Cedar Terrace?
That's not there anymore.
The
Yeah,
Mike.
it is. The one
playground?
behind- They tore it down?
Yeah.
Take him to
The one right next to my house?
Vincelli
so.
Park.
Really? No. Yeah, Vincelli
It hasn't
Park.
been there since they did the water tower project.
Named after the cop.
3 years.
No, not that one. The one like literally right next to my house. There's another
is
little
there?
one, yeah.
I don't know.
Where those trees are, you know those big trees on the hill?
Oh, yeah.
Named after the legendary park cop.
Yeah.
Big Mike.
Vincelli Park.
Get off my
Vincelli
hill!
Park.
Should you hit the cop?
I gotta call him about the lawnmower.
Yeah, give him a call.
The lawnmower that hasn't worked for years.
Doesn't work, but someone could fix it.
Chad.
Chad will fix
Chad
it.
will fix
Stick a pencil in it, it'll work.
Something.
Airtime and belts.
Yeah, I got two things. First is actually no, I'm just gonna do one. Those of you who roam the halls of Hilton High School or Hilton Merton Williams, you have a new fancy employee up in there. Big Scott is doing a little subbing on the side. He's getting his teach on.
Mr. Big
I've
Scott.
always-
Yeah. Is he gonna go?
I've always thought he would be a killer teacher, and I'm really pumped that he's kind of getting into it. So he teaches at St. Leo's. He teaches confirmation classes, so he definitely knows what
You
he's doing.
kids are in for a treat. I can't wait until a kid asks him for help someday and he accidentally calls the kid honey. Or Peach or
yeah,
dog
it-
or sweetie.
Yeah, I mean, and it would be in the most endearing way, and so,
sincere way.
Very proud of my old man. He's gonna kill it. He's
Does he
doing
wear his
great.
glasses when he goes, like down on the bridge of his nose, and he just walks around with a cup of coffee?
That's the new dad. That's the
the
dad
DNC.
thing. Because my dad does that now too. He wears them at the end of his nose.
with his Democrat Chronicle and
Yeah, he.
Is he gonna go as Mr. Big Scott?
All 3 pages of it.
No, I'm sure he's just Mr. Peachy. But he said he already saw Rich Lapani, Andy Foreman. That was exciting. So next stop is to see
with Uncle Mike Gerizzi. So, hey.
That's fun. That's cool.
Keep it up, dog. Proud of you.
I got one. It's been a rough week for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
T-Bone?
My man T-Bane, Trevor Bain, getting demoted. I've
See ya.
been a little sad about it. He's still got a job. He just won't be in the car every week. So he's basically going to run the races that he has sponsorship for. They're bringing Matt Kenseth back out of retirement. I know a lot of people on the show are loyal NASCAR fans as well. So you've probably been reading up on this all week.
Is he running the lower circuit at all then? Or?
No.
He's not even
I mean,
doing that?
they still got to work out a lot of the finer details, and he still has a contract that goes through next year. So
Was
we
he
don't
just
know how
not
this is
doing
all
well?
going to
That's
shake
what you
out.
got.
Yeah, he's not. He hasn't been racing well, and we're trying to figure out, is it the driver or is it the car? So we'll find out. Matt Kenseth will be a good barometer for that. He's a legendary. He's a Hall of Fame driver. He just retired at the end of last season. Oh, he didn't really retire. He kind of got forced out of his own ride because he didn't have sponsorship, and they wanted to put this younger kid, Eric Jones, in the car. So he was out of a ride, and now he's coming back.
Do you think Trevor
It's a
Bain
Roush.
will find a different garage then?
Eventually, yeah. I think he will.
Contract's
He has a pretty good sponsor in the pyramid scheme that is Advocare. So hopefully the sponsor will go with him, and they can take their talents elsewhere, and he can be more competitive. So we'll see. But it's Talladega this weekend. It's actually one of his best, if only, chances to win. So I hope that he can get it done. And
No, he's won a Daytona before.
he won. That's his only win. It was the 2011 Daytona 500, his second career start, the day after his 20th birthday. He hasn't been back to victory lane, at least in the Cup Series. He's won the lower series, but I'm hoping that he can bring home the checkered flag tomorrow. And
At Dega?
yeah,
Mike, you got anything for airtime?
Guys, everyone, I think we've made it through winter. After tomorrow.
Yeah, after the snow
After
tomorrow.
snow tomorrow, I think we're in the clear.
are you sure?
Wait,
Mike?
wait. Is it really supposed to snow tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're calling for some wet snow.
Wet snow.
Hey, it's not even May yet, Mike. Let's not get ahead of
I
ourselves.
think we're okay. Next week looks nice.
What was funny yesterday? It was nice out. I have like Christmas window clings that I put up.
Yeah.
And there's one that's just a generic "let it snow."
Yeah.
And after Christmas, when I took all of them down, I left that one up on my front door.
Uh-huh.
And Amanda said yesterday, "Yeah, I think you can take that down." I'm like, "Well, let's not be so sure here."
Yes, tomorrow's supposed to be a little bit of
So
snow.
that's going to stay up for a little
But
while
after
longer.
this weekend, I think we're in the clear, finally.
We end each program with wrapping things up. What's on deck for next week? Mike, it's your power ranking topic. What do you got?
Spinning off from the Cookie Monster talk, I think we're going to go favorite cookies.
Yes.
There it is.
Top
Yeah.
5 cookies.
Love it.
I like it.
Baked or store-bought, any and all.
kind.
Any and all.
I like it. That's a good one, Mike.
There you go.
What did we learn today? We go around the room, finish things off here with what we learned. Mike, what did you learn today?
If you're doing some hole digging in Hilton, make sure your hole's 15 feet deep.
15 feet. That's what you need. That's
And
what
make
it seems
sure
like.
you have Inspector Concrete Charlie Palmer.
Tyler, what did you learn today?
I actually learned this last Friday, but I'll share it with you all today, and that is that Tops has the best pizza in Hilton.
Joe, what did you learn today?
Hey, you don't believe me? Go try for yourself.
Little baby Natalie Dietrich now has full command of the English language.
The Webster Dictionary. And Mike, what did I learn today?
Druin had to get Cedar Terrace and Applewood coned
Closed
off for his
And
project.
to bring in the Parma Special Police Unit.
We had a one-way traffic pattern going for a while. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the 259 Show. We'll catch you back here next Saturday morning, post Schmegs.
Oh,
Join us at Schmegs next Saturday morning for breakfast. We'll talk to you soon.
259 Show and friends.